Have you ever found yourself lying awake in the dead of night, the silence of the room amplifying the noise in your head? What if I fail that crucial presentation? What if I lose my job? What if the people I love leave me? These questions echo in the darkness, fueled by a deep-seated anxiety that feels uniquely modern. We are told that stress is the price of ambition, and that anxiety is a natural response to the uncertainties we face every single day. We scroll through our phones seeking distraction, only to find more reasons to feel inadequate or fearful. But what if I told you that this struggle is not new? What if the very anxieties that keep you awake at night are the same ones that have plagued humanity for millennia? The feeling of being overwhelmed, the fear of the unknown, the ache of an unfulfilled life. These are ancient human conditions. 5,000 years ago, on a vast battlefield named Kurukshetra, one of the greatest heroes of his time, Arjuna, stood paralyzed by these very same feelings. He was overcome with doubt, grief, and a crippling anxiety about the future he was about to create. He was facing the ultimate crisis, a battle against his own family and teachers. His distress was so profound that his hands trembled, his mouth went dry, and he could no longer stand firm. His predicament was not just a historical event, it was a metaphor for the internal battles we all fight. It was in that moment of profound despair that his charioteer and divine friend, Lord Krishna, spoke. He didn't offer simple platitudes or easy fixes. Instead, he delivered a message so powerful and so deep that it has resonated through the ages, offering guidance to countless souls. This divine conversation, known as the Bhagavad Gītā, is not merely a historical scripture, it is a living manual for navigating the complexities of life. Let us begin a journey into this timeless wisdom, to discover how Krishna's answers can help us face the anxiety and stress that define so much of our modern experience. How many times have you been your own worst critic? How often has your mind conjured up vivid images of failure, painting every worst-case scenario with terrifying detail? We often think of our enemies as external forces, difficult bosses, challenging circumstances, people who wish us ill. But the Bhagavad Gītā presents a more radical idea. It suggests our greatest battle isn't external, it's within the landscape of our own minds. Krishna teaches Arjuna, and by extension all of us, a crucial truth. The mind can be our most loyal ally, or our most destructive foe. Krishna states this clearly. One must elevate oneself by the power of one's mind, not degrade oneself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul, and his enemy as well. An uncontrolled mind, left to wander, drifts toward negativity. It will dwell on past regrets and future anxieties, creating a prison of fear and sorrow. It becomes an enemy that whispers doubts, magnifies problems, and convinces us that peace is impossible. The challenge isn't to eliminate the mind, but to transform it from turmoil into strength. When disciplined and directed toward a higher purpose, the mind becomes our greatest friend. A controlled mind doesn't deny problems, but refuses to be overwhelmed by them. It can analyze situations clearly, maintain composure under pressure, and find solutions where an agitated mind sees only obstacles. Gently but firmly, guide thoughts away from the whirlpools of anxiety toward the firm ground of inner stability. When we connect consciousness with a higher divine reality, with Krishna himself, the mind finds a stable, peaceful harbor. So when anxiety begins its assault, pause and recognize the battle for what it is. It's not the world attacking us, it's our own uncontrolled mind. And we have the tools not just to fight back, but to win. Many of us spend our lives climbing a ladder we believe leads to happiness. We tell ourselves, if I just get that promotion, if I just earn more money, if I just find the right partner, then I will finally feel complete. Yet, for so many, a persistent feeling of emptiness remains. A quiet, nagging question surfaces in moments of reflection. Is this all there is? The Bhagavad Gītā addresses this profound sense of discontent by explaining the nature of the happiness we typically chase. Krishna tells Arjuna, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. The highs of worldly success and the lows of worldly failure are as temporary and cyclical as the seasons. They come and they go. Our stress and dissatisfaction often stem from trying to cling to the summer of our lives, desperately resisting the inevitable arrival of winter. We become attached to the fleeting pleasures derived from our senses, the thrill of a new purchase, the praise of our peers, the comfort of a luxurious lifestyle. But because these things are inherently impermanent, our happiness built upon them is fragile and unstable. This endless cycle of chasing and fearing is the root cause of the stress that leaves us feeling hollow, no matter how much we achieve. Krishna, however, points us towards a different kind of fulfillment, one that is not dependent on the changing seasons of fortune. He explains that true, lasting satisfaction comes not from what we can get from the world, but from our connection to the divine. This is the missing piece of the puzzle, the connection that fills the void that no amount of worldly success can. In a world filled with uncertainty, where our best-laid plans can be undone in an instant, we yearn for something solid to hold on to. We seek refuge from the storms of life, a safe harbor where our anxieties can finally rest. The Bhagavad Gītā culminates in such a promise, a powerful and deeply personal assurance from Lord Krishna himself. It is a message that cuts through all our fears and offers a definitive solution to the problem of human suffering. He concludes with a statement of incredible love and compassion. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. This is not a call for inaction or the abandonment of our responsibilities. Rather, it is an invitation to shift the entire basis of our existence. Surrender in this context means to perform our duties with full sincerity and effort, but to offer the results of our actions to a higher power, trusting completely in his care and protection. By entrusting our lives to him, we are relieved of the unbearable burden of trying to manage every variable of the universe. We accept that we are not the ultimate controllers. This acceptance is not a sign of weakness, but of profound wisdom. It allows us to act with courage and conviction, knowing that a benevolent, all-powerful friend is guiding and protecting us. This verse is the very heart of the Gītā's message of peace. It tells us that the peace we are searching for is not found in perfectly managing our external world, but in cultivating a relationship of trust with the divine. This is Krishna's timeless message of hope to Arjuna and to every one of us. Have you ever looked at the world and felt a profound sense of injustice? You see hard-working, kind-hearted people struggling through immense hardship, while others who seem deceitful and cruel appear to prosper without consequence. These observations can really shake our faith and lead us to question if there is any moral order to the universe at all. Life often feels random, chaotic, fundamentally unfair. The Bhagavad Gītā confronts this difficult question head-on. Krishna reveals that what we perceive in the short span of a single lifetime is merely a snapshot of a much larger, more intricate reality. Our current circumstances are the results of actions performed not just in this life, but in countless previous lives as well. Krishna highlights this complexity when he says, "The intricacies of action are very difficult to understand. Therefore one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is." The suffering a virtuous person endures today might be the karmic reaction to a negative action performed many lifetimes ago, the credit for which has not yet been exhausted. This understanding does not ask us to ignore injustice, but to see it through a wider lens. It assures us that there is an underlying order, a hidden equation that governs everything. It's actually more helpful to think of our actions or karma as seeds that we plant. Some seeds may sprout and bear fruit very quickly. Other actions are like planting the seed of a mighty oak tree. The seed is sown, but it may lie dormant for a very long time, before the conditions are right for it to germinate, grow, and finally bear its fruit. When we face unexpected hardship, we can cultivate a more mature perspective and understand we are experiencing a karmic debt coming due. This perspective gives us the strength to endure. Furthermore, this knowledge empowers us to become conscious gardeners of our future. Every thought, word, and deed is a seed we are planting right now. Even with an understanding of karma, it can be deeply distressing to witness the decline of virtue. It is precisely at this point that Krishna offers one of the most powerful and reassuring promises. He affirms that he personally intervenes to uphold righteousness, to deliver the pious, to annihilate the miscreants, and to re-establish the principles of religion. I myself appear, millennium after millennium. This promise provides immense solace. It assures us that no matter how bleak things may appear, the victory of Dharma is eternally guaranteed. Beyond the question of fairness, one of the most acute forms of suffering we all face is the pain of loss. Krishna addresses this universal human sorrow. He lifts Arjuna's vision beyond the immediate, physical reality of the body and introduces him to the eternal nature of the soul. As the embodied soul continuously passes, in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. This knowledge is the beginning of healing from the sting of loss. It replaces the terrifying idea of extinction with the hopeful reality of continuity. To solidify this new perspective on death, Krishna elaborates on the indestructible nature of the soul, the Atma. He states unequivocally, "For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain." Krishna further illustrates this with another potent analogy. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. This demystifies death, transforming it from a terrifying, unknown abyss into a natural, understandable process of transition. The challenge is to transform our love from a form of grasping, fearful attachment, moha, into a form of pure, unconditional compassion, karuna. When we see our loved one as an eternal soul continuing their journey, our grief can transform. Our focus shifts from our loss to their continued journey. This is an act of real love, a love that transcends physical presence, concerned with the eternal welfare of the soul. Grief can become a catalyst for profound spiritual growth. Loss can crack open the shell of material identification and force us to contemplate deeper questions. Grief, channeled through wisdom, can deepen our connection with Krishna. We transform separation into a bridge, leading us closer to the source of all existence, finding a peace that loss can never touch. In our hyper-connected digital age, we are constantly bombarded with curated glimpses into the lives of others. With every scroll, we see a relentless parade of perfect vacations, career milestones, flawless families, stunning achievements. We are presented with a highlight reel of everyone else's existence, while we are intimately familiar with the behind-the-scenes struggles and mundane realities of our own. This endless exposure creates fertile ground for one of the most pervasive, joy-stealing emotions of modern life: comparison. We start to measure our own worth against the polished images we see online. We compare our chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Our simple, quiet morning feels lacking compared to a friend's exotic breakfast overlooking the ocean. Chasing superiority is a race with no finish line, designed to keep us perpetually agitated and unfulfilled. Krishna offers a way out of this self-imposed prison. He invites us to shift our frame of reference to a vertical one focused on our own spiritual growth and connection to the divine. When the habit of comparison is left unchecked, it inevitably festers into its more toxic cousin, envy. When we are envious, we cannot genuinely celebrate the success of a friend or feel happy for another's joy. Instead, their happiness becomes a source of our own misery, a bitter reminder of what we perceive to be our own shortcomings. Krishna presents a completely different ideal for his devotee. He describes the qualities of a person who is dear to him, and a lack of envy is chief among them. He says, "One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me." A true devotee sees the success of others not as a threat, but as a manifestation of the Lord's kindness. This is a radical shift in consciousness. It requires us to actively uproot the weed of envy and cultivate the flower of spiritual appreciation. A humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater. This elevated consciousness allows a person to remain samadukha sukha, equal in happiness and distress. This perspective transforms all relationships. A competitor becomes a fellow soul on a journey. As we practice this, our hearts become purified of envy and filled with a universal compassion, bringing us closer to Krishna's own loving and impartial nature. Our modern consumer culture relentlessly preaches this gospel of discontentment. It keeps telling us that we're just not enough as we are. We accumulate possessions, titles, experiences, hoping they'll fill an inner void. But this external pursuit rarely leads to lasting peace. True contentment, or santusti, isn't acquired from outside. It's internal. Krishna praises contentment as a mark of the spiritually advanced. He calls the devotee dear to him santusta satatam, always satisfied. At the very core of envy is the false ego's desire to be the supreme enjoyer, the controller, and the proprietor of everything. In our original, pure state of consciousness, we understand that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and our joy really comes from contributing to his enjoyment. Krishna provides the perfect remedy. He declares, "A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries." When we accept this truth, the entire dynamic of competition and envy just collapses. Our role shifts from being a competitor to being an appreciative observer and a willing instrument. The Bhagavad Gita calls on us to completely discard this external, horizontal standard of measurement. Instead, it encourages us to adopt a new internal and vertical standard, the depth and sincerity of our own connection with Krishna. The transformative question becomes, am I a better devotee today than I was yesterday? Is my desire to serve Krishna growing? When we see another devotee who is more advanced, we don't feel envious, we feel inspired. When we make this our single-pointed goal, the shadows of comparison and envy just automatically recede, unable to survive in the bright light of a life dedicated to divine service. This is the path to real freedom and the unshakable peace that Krishna promises to all who walk it. For most of us, our work consumes the largest portion of our waking hours. We compartmentalize our lives, viewing our work as separate from our spiritual pursuits. Krishna teaches that any work can be transformed into a sacred and deeply peaceful practice. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu Krishna has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. This simple shift in intention changes everything. The work is no longer done out of selfish ambition or reluctant obligation, but as a loving service. Krishna provides a simple yet profound practice to counteract this spiritual amnesia: constant remembrance. It can be as simple as placing a picture of Krishna on our desk, using a mantra as our computer password, or setting hourly reminders on our phone. The daily practice of chanting the holy names of God, japa yajna, is the most potent medicine for the anxious mind. The vibration of the mantra works like a spiritual cleansing agent, gradually clearing away the accumulated dust of anxiety, fear, and negativity from the mirror of the mind. This spiritual practice is complemented by the sanctification of our food. By preparing pure vegetarian meals and offering them to Krishna with love before we eat, we transform the act of eating into a sacred ritual. Partaking of this offered food, or prasadam, nourishes not just the body but the soul, purifying us from within and awakening our spiritual senses. Finally, we must nourish our intelligence daily with the divine guidance of Scripture. Reading even one verse of the Bhagavad Gita each day is like having a personal consultation with Krishna. These practices are the practical means by which we translate wisdom into realization, transforming our existence from a struggle for survival into a beautiful dance of devotion. The Bhagavad Gita is more than a historical document or a philosophical masterpiece. It is a living, breathing text. It is Krishna's personal and eternal message of love. Your moment of need is your Kurukshetra, and Krishna is standing in the chariot of your heart, ready to guide you. Remember his final, most confidential promise: abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. He is asking you to trust him. He is promising to take charge of your life, to untangle the knots of your karma, and to extinguish the flames of your anxiety. Do not be overwhelmed by the path ahead. Your journey can begin today, in this very moment, with a simple, sincere step. Read one verse of the Gita each morning. Set aside 5 minutes to quietly chant Krishna's names. Make a conscious effort to offer your work to him. Whatever it is, begin today. This timeless wisdom is not just for sages in Himalayan caves. It is for you, for me, for every soul navigating the complexities of modern life. Let his words be the light that guides you out of the darkness of anxiety and into the eternal sunshine of your spiritual home. Take that step now, and you will find that the Supreme Lord himself will walk with you, guiding you and protecting you all the way back to a life of real, lasting peace. If this touched your heart, subscribe this channel for practical spiritual wisdom. Let Krishna's words guide you to the peace your soul longs for.